Hey y'all, happy Tuesday evening here in June, East Texas. I reckon this is probably about the best time of the day here on this old place, save the morning. You had that first cup and that sun's coming up over yonder. I guess it took me moving back in here back in 2018 to really appreciate why we worked the field till about 10 o'clock at this time of the year. And of course we were kids. We get out there and pick them peas with Mama, and we was headed to the house around 10:30. Now I know why. As kids, you don't feel that heat like we do at our age, right? We'd come back and sit on that old porch and shell some peas, and then us kids would get just plumb bored. I remember piling up under that old AC in Mama's room as the adults took a nap, and we'd try to figure out how to work a 8-track player. Wasn't but 2 or 3 8-track tapes to listen to back then. Well, I'm telling my age now, right? But I think there was an old Oldsmobile 8-track that came with the purchase of a car and a couple of Jerry Clowers. So we went with Jerry Clowers. But we'd get pretty restless. We'd run outside, and it'd take us long to go back in. Around 3 o'clock, we'd all start stirring, or they would. They'd stir before then, but we didn't go outside till around then. We'd ease on down to Lake San Rayburn and catch us a mess of crappie, come back and skin them out, fry them up, eat some peas and fish. Those are the days, right? Well, hadn't much changed on the place, but I guess the faces and the feet that walk it. Some of y'all saw it, I guess it was Saturday or the other day. Did a little re-landscaping. This is country, so it ain't nothing posh. But we'd had a couple old flower beds up here that was a booger to mow around, and I went ahead and graded them down. I shared the before picture there in the Washboard Musings group for those curious. And got some basil growing up there. I got to keep all them herbs close enough to the porch where I can keep them goats out of it, because DW's a booger bear about getting out of that pen. Usually about 12:30, 1 o'clock, he's had it, and he's coming out if I hadn't let him out. But you know it's hot when he ain't tried to jump out of the pen today. So we've made a few modifications. Of course, I've had to wrestle with him. He's just a goat. Once you get a jumper, which he is, there ain't no fixing them. So we just learned to adapt. And he's got a little partial brick that we can put him on where he's got a lead chain. He's fine. He can drag it all over the place, but he can't jump the fence. And that's the goal. These two booger bears are about to make a track to Angelina County. And that one sure is bloated. I think they don't get their belly full of this backyard grass today. So I don't want to be anywhere where they're sleeping tonight, because I imagine there's going to be a few smells going on. But I've got them sequestered in the backyard. That black and white one has acquired a taste for peas. So y'all understand why we had to fix that. But no, Dad moving. He's got himself a farm under contract, and I don't know if he knows what he's getting into, but he's going to do it just the same. That's all right. But we're going to put them goats out to pasture and let them do a little damage to them high weeds, right? I don't know if y'all noticed, I just walked back by it. I meant to mention as I did. That old well that stood here for 100-something years finally gave up, or the land did around it. Isn't that something? Just fell smooth down. Watched a few videos back. I figured out what the deal was, why it's eroded and fell in recent history after standing there so long. Well, it's had a covering on it for all those years until I got here and had to tear it down because it was falling down. And just the rain eroded it. It's all right. We've thought about trying to pick it up out of there and set it up on the ground up top. And it's just too heavy. It'd take a lot of expense and equipment to do that. But my wildflower came up with a pretty good idea, and I like it. So we're going to straighten it up a little bit. It won't be hard to do. It's nothing dangerous. And we'll get us a little mortar and some old bricks, and we'll just bring it, the top of it, on up above the ground, fill in the hole, and we'll still be able to look at the old well. This time we'll put a covering on it to protect it, right? Oh, she's done got all kind of ideas about pulleys and morning glories, and that's good stuff. Even talking about a rose garden out here in honor of Mama and some other folks. That'll be good. I've never really done much with roses, so I'm looking forward to that. Mom liked them, but that'll be kind of neat. I'm gonna see if y'all can see this. I don't know that you can. See if anybody knows what's going on here. Y'all see them little black BBs on the ground? Country folks may know what that is. If I told you I was standing under a katavi tree full of worms. It is that time of year, and they're getting after it. That's some of the best catfish bait in Texas. But they are getting after it. What the birds don't get, I'll harvest. And you can freeze them little old jokers live. Don't wash them or blanch. Just put them in a Ziploc bag and freeze them. And for a few months, you'll be able to pull them right back out. And they warm up, they'll go to crawling again. But that's some good fish bait, for real. Well, if y'all saw earlier, I'll put that in the washboard musings group too, sorry, but it's what it is, just the random stuff. But this old shed has fallen in. It's a little workshop that was built. It's not as old as the place. It was kind of built later. But I've got a desk that was crafted in it by my granddad, my step-granddad, I guess. I didn't know my real one. He died on a tractor, but I was the set of the young ones from the baby of my mom. So he built me a little desk. I've still got it in that room in there. I come through high school on it, but y'all can. A lot of people said don't tear it down, but we ain't got much choice, y'all. That snowstorm wiped out the top roof, so we're gonna salvage some of the wood. Just a bunch of old junk. There's a slab in there, but we gotta get that cleaned out. I started on it this afternoon, and it's hot. And I got motivated this evening as I moved some of that stuff. Big old copperhead coiled up in there. So Sissy likes to try to creep in there and sleep when she's not in the house. And copperheads and dogs don't mix, especially that baby right there. So even more reason to get that cleaned out and gone. So we're in the throes of that. Coming up on Father's Day, I've been blessed to have a good one. Hopefully most of you have as well. But he was always that protector, that guide. And I hadn't always done the same, but I've tried with my 4 kiddos. But he always kept us from harm everywhere he could. I think that's what us dads need to do as we move along through life. Remind me of the old story about that stagecoach that was hiring some teamsters to drive a mountainous path through the wilderness. It was a pretty rough track, and they couldn't keep good health that was safe. So they put the shingle out on the front porch of their establishment and started taking applications. Well, interview time came around. First gentleman come in there and sat down, and the manager was going through all the interview about qualifications. And he asked him a question. He said, so how close to the edge can you safely travel this mountainous path? He said, I can do it. I'm skilled. I can get within 3 feet of it and not lose control. So the manager thanked him for his time and sent him on his way. Called in the next guy. He asked all the questions, and that last question he asked was the same. How close can you take this stagecoach full of cargo and passengers safely by the mountain edge? He said, oh man, I'm very skilled. I can get within a foot of it and still make it through it. They thanked him and sent him on his way. Last man came in. It was the last one of the day. Went through all the questions. And when the question came up about how close he could drive to the edge, he shook his head and he looked at the man. He said, I'd stay away from that edge as far as I could. So I'm not getting anywhere close to it. And they hired him on the spot. It's about keeping us from danger, not about how close you can get to the edge and pull out. Right? Well, I had a dad like that, have a dad like that, and sure thankful for it. I'm sure he was pulling his hair out as me and Kim grew up. We're close now as siblings are, but goodness, it was a rocky road through those adolescent years and kiddo years. It's an oldie but a goodie. I've always loved this story. I guess it could have been practically mine, but I don't remember it in fact. But she might tell me that it actually happened, but mother was home and heard a scream from the bedroom where the two kids were, and she ran in there, and the 7-year-old boy and his little 2-year-old sister, and the little 2-year-old was in there, and the boy was just hollering that his sister had pulled his hair. Well, she comforted him and said, "Baby, she's only 2. She doesn't understand that it hurts." So he dried his eyes and everything settled down, and Mom left the room, went back to cooking. Shortly, she heard the little girl scream. So she run in the room, and the other little boy just sat innocently. "What's going on in here?" He looked at his mom and smiled and said, "She knows now." So maybe Dad had to navigate a few of those things along the way. But I hope y'all are planning to celebrate yours, whether he's with us or not. We can still celebrate him. DW did get out the other day. I think it was Sunday. Service ran a little long and had a missionary in with some pretty harrowing tales from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Extraordinary, the sacrifice those missionaries make to spread the gospel. But anyway, long story short, the service ran long, and then I ate lunch with Dad afterward, and did get home to about, I guess it was about 2:30, and I was a little nervous. Because remember what I told you, DW starts moving around about 1 if somebody ain't come out there and looked at him. It's my fault. I was a little lazy that morning. We served breakfast there at church, and I got up and plenty of time, but put on my church clothes and just didn't feel like wrestling with a goat that morning, so I went on in. Well, sure enough, I get home and he'd gotten out. Not only did he get out, he broke all the girls out, busted in the seed room, and had a week's worth of feed all on the ground. The chickens, and they were just going to town. So there you go. Well, budgets are budgets for a reason. So we've got some hard-working goats and chickens this week until we go get the next round of feed. They're foragers by design, but they can get a little lazy when you feed them all the time and lose that foraging aspect. Well, that ain't happening now. I don't think I'm going to have a bug left on the place because they know it's up to them to find dinner. And there's plenty of earthworms and ticks and fleas and mosquitoes and bugs, and they're fat and sassy just the same. DW and his ladies have had to pay the price. They love some oak leaves. So I said, well, what better time to do it than to trim up that highway frontage. That's how I ran into what was going on across the street in that other video. Looking over there, that man's proud as punch. Got him a brand new roof, and that's sure cool. Sure looks good. Appreciate what Mission NAC is doing. But I don't have a mess by accident. It's on purpose. These are oak leaves and pecan leaves and stuff that we've trimmed down. And old DW and the ladies get out here and munch on them in the mornings. I'm about to let them out after I get off the phone. I got to watch them pretty close, because if I don't, they'll be hitting that garden up, and we can't have that. Too much work in it, right? But timing is everything, and DW capitalized on it. But that's all right. That's all right. Well, another hot week ahead. Just thought I'd jump on here and say howdy for the evening and check in about things. Wearing one of my new favorite shirts. I love the color and love the story behind it. Little Wildflower's daughter out Georgetown way. She got it for me. They went on a little, her and her friend went to the Rocky Mountains in Colorado and brought me back a little shirt. But super proud of that young lady. She just took on a venture with some type of pharmacy tech certification. If I said what it was, I'd get it wrong, but it was a booger that you don't normally pass on the first round, 2-hour test. And I was talking to her. She said she studied all she could and went in there and did her best, and going to leave it to that. Well, y'all know what happens when that happens. If you do your best and you study, you pass it. And she did. So good things ahead for her. Super proud of her for getting that done. That's a big deal. Thinking about, I read a little story the other day. I don't know where this applies other than just funny and being real. There's a big old famous zoo that had all kind of exhibits, and it was famous for the gorilla and some of the bigger animals. Well, the poor old gorilla died, and the zoo really didn't have a budget to replace it. And this gorilla was so famous that it drew a lot of folks in to pay. Well, in the short term, they did the best they could, and they hired an old boy to dress up in a gorilla suit and act like a gorilla until they could buy him another one, a real one. So his first day on the job, he got in the cage there, and he was the only gorilla in there. He put on his suit, and he was getting after it. But he wasn't too good at it. He'd never done that before, so he was fumbling around. So he thought he'd step it up a notch and got to jumping around. Fell over the barrier into the lion's cage like an idiot. And now he's in trouble. So he ain't a gorilla. He's a dude in the lion's cage with a lion looking at him. He goes to hollering and done blown his cover and just worried he's about to die. That lion eased up to him and said, "Boy, you better be quiet. You're going to get us both fired." Oh, isn't that something? So sometimes we don't know what's going on around us. We just need to settle down. Huh? I'm on looking out for that copperhead, y'all. So I don't play with them dudes. They are not any fun. But I guess we could take a lesson from that old gorilla suit and just be real and don't panic. Maybe that lion's just somebody dressed up too, right? I reckon so. Well, let me do a quick roll call. I didn't get to do one on the other video the other morning, but we'll see who's checking in, and hoping y'all have a good evening. I've got a new venture planned for next year. It's going to take a little time, and my wildflower got tickled at me this morning. I knew it was going to take 8 weeks to root them, but we're going to do a little bit with some elderberries. They were native here on this place till I put in a garden. Now I'm going to root some out when I had some. Anyway, so I took about 30 cuttings, and it takes about 8 weeks for them to start rooting in that water. And she got tickled at this morning. She called, and we were talking, and I said, "You know what?" She said, "What?" I said, "Them elderberries ain't got no roots on them yet." She said, "Boy, you're crazy. You just put them in the water yesterday." I've got to learn my patience again, don't I? So we got to babysit those rascals for a while, and we might don't have to tend to those elderberries quite like the peas. We'll see how that works out. But good times ahead. I'm looking forward to that rose garden. I almost chopped all that down today and started building it, but I know she wants to be involved with that, so next time she's up here, then we'll get that done. We'll probably be talking about fathers a couple more times this week, as we should. I reckon it'll probably be, I don't know, we may visit Thursday evening or Wednesday evening, one of the two. But we'll see how that goes. All right, let me see who's on here, and we'll call it an evening. My mosquito repellent's starting to wear off, so I'm getting a little itchy. All right, let me roll back through here and see who all's checking in. I'm going to ramble a minute, hadn't I? Let's see here. There's Ron May. Hey, y'all, back at you. Teddy Gardner's in the Carolina Hills. Speaking of Carolina, I don't know who's connected with me personally, but it's public on my page. But my son-in-law has taken a few lemons and made some good tasting lemonade out of it. No, he's had a really good job for a long time, and he's a go-getter. There's a gentleman there in his area that's had a very, very well-established high-end landscaping business going, and Danny and him has been in some talks about it, and so he's in the process of taking over that business full reins, and providing some food and victuals for my daughter. Of course, they're doing fine, but he launched his little Facebook page today, and for those of you who don't know, any of your friends that invite you to like a page, if it's just not something totally against you, if they're starting out, go ahead and give them a like. You ain't got to interact with it, but the Facebook metrics and things of that nature, if they're trying to grow a business, it'll help them with a little seed base, if you will. They're able to do a few more things in their local area business-wise, so it don't hurt nothing for you to click somebody's page and like it. And doesn't mean you have to go over there and interact with it every day, but it'll sure help them get some business rolling. But anyway, it's S&S Lawn Care there, and super proud of him. And I know he'll do well. That's just who he is. But y'all go check that out if you can. Let's see here. Mr. Manuel Rodriguez, today's grub, tomorrow's fertilizer. That's right. That is exactly right. Misty Heather's checking in from up in Missouri. Good to see you on, man. There's that sun behind me. It's kind of blinding me a little bit in the screen. There's my good friend out Waco way. I like my hat. Got a Cabela's hat similar. Mine says Waco, Texas on the side. Got it Cabela's in. Oh, wait. Look at there. Reckon that's where I got mine. We opened that store as a team, and those were good years. Really enjoyed that. Had a lot of good lifelong friends made there from that opening team. And I don't reckon I made any enemies too much. But no, that was good times. So mine's just like yours, Lois. How's that? Let's see. Maria is waving from hot Cali. I saw that temperature you posted yesterday. I thought it was hot here, but where y'all at is hot for real. Darlene, picture is frozen. I'm sorry. I don't look at it enough. I hope it corrected itself. Oh, shucks, this is wormy. You silly thing. Manual is something else. Good evening to you, Suze. Let's see. Snakes, time to get out of Dodge. Well, I'm going to win on the snake deal. That's the first one I've seen this year. I'm still holding my breath on them chicken snakes. I can't believe we hadn't had about a 6-footer in that chicken house yet. I don't know if it's the goats around or the turkeys, and who knows, but I sure don't like fighting them things in the rafters, but we got to do it. We got to do it. Susan says she's blessed with an awesome father. Been gone now for the past 12 years. Sure do miss him. Yeah, I don't even want to think about that. Aggie from Allen, Texas. Hot there, too. Yeah, y'all got a little bit more concrete down that way. Yeah, this green grass, I think, in the shade absorbs a lot of it, but what we lose in heat, we gain in humidity, so I guess it's about a fair trade. Aggie says, my dad was a blessing and gift also. Let's see who else is signing. DW's just a rambunctious thing. Yes, he is. He don't know no better. Andrew says, evening, Joel. Copperheads don't mix with nothing. That old shed is waiting for the tractor bucket. That's right. I think I'll get enough lumber on it. I was thinking Wildflower wants to build a porch swing out of it, but we got that old shack down in the woods, and that's some antique lumber down there. When she was here last time, we walked down there and looked at it. Big old, I don't know how big them planks are, but they were cut off that virgin pine timber. I was looking at that old store today, that the guy that built this place, Charlie Pop. Not a whole lot out there on it, but he had a little old mill back there, and his uncle or cousin had a shack back there, 2-room, and it was something, it was decent for that time period, 1900, and that lane ran all the way back there. And some of my older cousins and aunts and uncles have told me they remember cars going way back in them woods to that shack. Well, it stood out there in the elements, made out of the same lumber that house has been made out of. So this stuff was probably bought at a local building supply store here in the 50s or 60s. There's nothing wrong with that. That stuff in the back, that's going to hold up. This stuff's pretty thin. But maybe we can make some crafts out of this. I don't know if we want to sit down on it, though. Termites and bugs and weather have kind of had their way on some of that. So we'll salvage it some way. Now, that might make a good sign or two, but I don't know if I want to sit on it. Let's see who else is on here. Aggie, oh no, DW and the ladies, they'll be working for their meals. Yep, they are. Manuel said, going to take a picture of tomorrow's shirt. I think we will match. All right, well, we'll see how that goes. Thanks for that. Congratulations, Aggie. I think I've got everybody covered. If I missed you, I'm sorry. There's Darlene, love your stories from Western Washington. My good buddy, Brian. I don't even know where you live at, Brian. Don't say it on here. Facebook police will be after you for real. Me and him can't stay out of trouble on Facebook. I think he's got I know he's got a permanent card to the Facebook jail hotel. Love that dude, though. He's majorly talented, good friend. There's Andrew Hilliker Sr. Howdy, Joel, checking in from Vermont. Stay safe. Thank you, sir. Let's see. Aggie said she liked it already. That's the page we're talking about. Randy said, tell them to get picking some peas soon. Yep, it will be. It's going to be pea picking time pretty soon, Mr. Randy. Charlotte, West Tennessee here again. I think I got everybody. Alexis, 105 here today, Riverside. Lord of mercy, that's just one more bad strike on California. You ain't doing yourself no favors there. Suze used to call that old antique lumber blue wood. Never heard of that. That's kind of cool. God bless you and your family, brother. Thank you for daily sharing. Thank you, ma'am. All right, I think that's everybody. And I've only got about 10 mosquito bites to deal with this evening, so it's not too bad. But Sissy's ready to go patrol inside. I reached out to someone was needing to foster a male Pyrenees for a very, very short period of time. Unfortunately, it's fixed. I say that because I want to let her up from Sissy at some point, but they're in the process of moving homes here in Texas, and just needed somewhere to home that baby for a month or two. So we may be getting a surrogate renter for about a month or so, but that one's going to have to be under heavy guard, being somebody else's pet. Sissy knows the lay of the land, but I don't know that the new one would, so it'll probably be pretty much an inside dog and out when we're out, but we'll see. If they need us, we'll help them. If not, that's fine too. Sissy's got it under control, I think. She's ready to go in the house. She said, I've had enough of this heat, Dad. Yes, sir, I have. All right, y'all have a good evening. Be the light, and we'll check in with you later in the week, or next week, or whatever. Be the light.